Hey, welcome to DE Student Chats. My name is Justin, and today we are joined by academic leader Grace Wilson. We'll be celebrating her receiving an award, as well as getting some advice for future DE students and her journey through DE. Can't wait to chat with her. Congratulations first off on winning this year's Young Playwrights Award. Obviously, last year, last year you were the runner-up. So now that you actually won it this year, how do you feel?
Oh, it's incredible. I think it's a testament that if you get second place, there's always a chance to come first. You just got to keep trying at it or come back with vengeance, as I say, or people say to me. But it's wonderful. I quote it as finally getting that pat on the back after all those weeks and months of work. So it's such a rewarding experience and process, the whole part of the award.
Yeah, definitely. And it's called Goodbye, Eli Anderson. Yeah. Can you give us like a recap of what's that all about?
Yeah, definitely. So, Goodbye, Eli Anderson was my experiences personally as watching my friends and family go through the process of dealing with terminal illness, specifically cancer, and being a bystander to that, watching how my friends and family went through it, reacted to it, coped with it. So the whole story follows these two young boys who meet. One's going through a terminal illness, so cancer, and the other one's going through some family issues, some trauma. They basically go on this road trip around Australia. So it's very indie, very
Wow.
fun, very young, but it's also challenging that bystander perspective at the same time, and just saying good things can come from bad things. Dying in that process of grief doesn't have to be a negative process, and there is good that can come out of bad situations. Yeah.
Yes. Wow, that's really cool. And how long has that process been for you from writing it to I guess now submitting it, and what was that process for you?
So the process until July, which was when I submitted the play to be awarded, was 10 months of work. So it was a very long process. I started pretty much 2 weeks after I got runner up. So I said I was going to come back for round two. Don't forget me. Um, and basically just Zoom readings every week, writing almost every single night. It was a very long process, but very rewarding in the end.
Yeah, definitely. And I was reading up on the interview we had with the Queensland Theatre. It said that you had is it what was the soundtrack to this play? I guess
It was a soundtrack.
yeah.
Lots of Elton John, ABBA, Beatles, having it through my headphones constantly. 60s, 70s, 80s rock. That was the way to go about it.
Does that play a key part in the script or in the way you visualize it when you were writing?
It actually does, because I feel like once if you're in your car with your parents or just someone who appreciates good music, feel like
Yeah.
ABBA and the Beatles. You gotta play some ABBA or the Beatles when you're driving down a really long highway for a really long time. Or The Horses by Daryl Braithwaite. I mean, come on.
Oh, you can't go wrong with that. I love it. And what were the so what did you get for actually winning this prize?
So, to when you win the prize, it's a lot of it's more an experience thing. So it's not like a
Yeah, okay.
cash in hand prize, which is something I really like about the prize itself. So what I received was I got a full expenses paid trip to Brisbane over the September school holidays to participate in a week long theatre camp run by Queensland Theatre, which is just intensive theatre training for a whole week, and it's just incredible. We have people from all over the state, from Mount Isa and Weipa, all the way down to just down the road from Stuart Home, where it was held for the week. So that was an incredible experience. But the other part of the award is the development side. So basically, from now until December, I'm meeting every 2 weeks with a dramaturg, Isaac Drandick, who is Cairns based, and we're basically going scene by scene and deconstructing this work and making it the best work it can be. And getting to learn from an industry professional is just
Wow.
something amazing about the award. And once that's all done and dusted in December, that's when it will see it come to life into fruition. At Queensland Theatre in Brisbane, there'll be a professional public play read. So there'll just be lots of industry professionals, the public, friends and family just come and listen to this work and see how it's developed. And I think that's a really great way to end the whole process and the award.
Well, that's okay. That's a lot. But that's so cool. So okay, what was it like for you on over the September holidays, these past holidays, just to be in that environment? First off,
Oh, it's incredible. It was last year once I got runner up and I went through and sat through that week. And then pretty much the day I left camp, I was already writing because it's just being surrounded by so many like-minded people, writers, actors, people who want to direct or create stage costumes or sets. You just get this constant whirl of emotions, ideas, and you go home or you go into your little cubicle and you write something down or you think about what lines you're going to say tomorrow in the next group performance or something like that. So it's just constant. It's quite draining, but it's also incredible because you're
yeah,
constantly thinking, imagining, creating. So definitely it was such a wonderful experience and very bummed that this was my last year, but
yeah,
it was just an incredible experience nonetheless.
yeah, definitely. And okay, you said dramaturg. What is that?
So basically, dramaturg is someone who asks questions, basically. So sitting on Zoom and the dramaturg will ask you basically what an English teacher does every time you write a creative piece and says, what was this choice of wording for? Is there a deeper meaning behind this? And if you can answer that question, then you know that's a strong part of the script and you can keep that in. But if you stumble for an answer kind of thing, that kind of says, there's a plot hole here or something needs to be filled. So it's a really great process. It's a bit confronting at times because you get asked constantly, why did you do that, or what was that decision for? But in the end, it helps greatly to really develop your straight path down the middle of the narrative.
Man, that's so cool. And have you had one of those sessions yet?
Yeah, I've had two actually, and it's been incredible. We've only done a little bit, but I've had about 4 pages of notes worth of things that he's mentioned to me. So every session, it's draining, but it's so worth it. So yeah, I'm very looking forward to the next one.
How has that grown you as a writer? Just having that professional eye, just look over it when you're.
It's yeah, it's very confronting, as I said, because you go from writing in your own head, writing with your own critic in the back of your brain, to having somebody else's eyes and someone else's opinion saying this is how I perceived it and this is the message that I got from it.
Well,
But it just opens you up to everybody's perspective and just how other people perceive your own work. So definitely helps me develop my own writing style, but definitely what I put out into the world and how I expect people to perceive and respond to it.
that's really cool. And what are your hopes coming out of this? Whether well, you're graduating this year. Is this the pathway that you're looking to pursue?
It would be nice. Definitely something I'm looking into. I'm a very big writer. I'm a very big humanities person. So
Yeah.
staying on this track would probably be a good idea. So hopefully somewhere I'd love to be a writer. Keep that. Even if I study something else, I think writing will always be a passion of mine and something I always will pursue. So yeah.
No, I love it. And so, and we'll jump into that was we'll jump into kind of your experience with the DE now. But do you think you would have been able to capture this opportunity, get this Young Playwrights Award, if you weren't a part of DE, or even focus the time on it?
Um, I think GE has played such a huge factor in the creation of this script and how I've been able to go about it. Definitely, DE just gives the flexibility to be able to finish early. If I finish my work at 1 p.m., then I've got an extra 2 hours to sit down and write or do something I love. Giving those extra hours. If I finish an assignment early, then I have more time at night to go and write or get on a Zoom call with my friends, or even just take time to sit out and have a break so I can think about it more. So D has played such a huge role in giving me so much flexibility and time to be able to create and follow my passions as a whole. So yeah.
That's really cool. And how did you get your start? What was that like?
With D,
Yeah, with DE.
It was right during the COVID pandemic. That was when I kind of caught on to when I was in my on-campus school and they pushed us on to online learning. Everyone was struggling around me, but I was that one kid who was having a grand old time
Yeah.
online, doing my own thing. So when everybody else went back, I had the option to stay online for a bit. So I stayed a bit longer. And at that end of the year, I said, I was already traveling. I was traveling 3 hours a day to get to school.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And coming into grade 11 and 12, I knew the stakes would be higher. I needed to study more. So in the end, I said, I think this is something to consider. Mum and dad were a bit iffy about it, but I said, no, I really blossomed. My grades increased. Because I'm a very independent learner, so I like to structure my own class time. And when people are chatting and talking, it just takes away from what the teacher is trying to say. So we took that jump in early 2021. The school was just incredible. They welcomed me in with open arms, even though I started in grade 11. So I missed that step into senior from the end of grade 10, but they were just so accommodating. They were helping me with like extensions on certain assignments, or like giving me exemptions from certain assignments if I like missed the cutoff date when I joined the school. And yeah, it just started there. I say to everyone, I wish I started earlier, because I really do. Like I love my time at ACC and DE so much. But yeah, 2021 is where it started, and I wish I started earlier, but it's been great.
Man, that's so awesome. And what was that adjustment like for you at the start, going from the on campus experience to DE?
There was a lot of accountability, I think.
Yeah.
Because usually when you're on campus, you have a timetable, you have a bell rings here, teachers move there kind of thing. So you're not really accountable. You can just move with the masses and show up at a class kind of
Yeah.
thing. But now it was what if I wanted to do well, I needed to commit an hour or 2 hours to a certain subject. I needed to wake up at this time. I needed to find enough time to cook breakfast, go to the gym, complete my chores. I needed to figure out what hours of the day my brain worked best, so I could complete harder subjects at a certain time and lesser, easier subjects at a time when my brain wasn't operating at full capacity. So it was a big change, especially I've done on campus my whole life.
Yeah.
So being able to going from having everything handed to you to having that going to a type of platform where it was basically all on you. You had the choice to show up to webinars. You had the choice to involve yourself with student leadership. You had the choice to show up at clubs or join class connects kind of thing. It was a very big change. It took me definitely a couple of weeks to finally show up at a webinar, because I was very nervous, especially
Yeah.
going just into a Zoom call. It's quite confronting at first, but once I got into the groove of it, I was there at every webinar, every class connect, and it's just been a ball since then.
Man, that's how do you think that has built like prepared you for a life outside of school?
Oh, it's been wonderful. My time management has gone from nothing to everything. Basically, I have my day planned out. I know when I need to be sitting down with my laptop. I know that if I want to get to a class early, I usually have to move to my better Wi-Fi location 15 minutes earlier so I can set up and check my Zoom, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's prepared me so much, just being able to attend classes, to know personally when my brain works best, when um, yeah, it's just been incredible time management wise, but it's also been really beneficial as a person to grow, to be able to step out of my comfort zone. Like I was before coming into D, I was a person that didn't really. I joined clubs, but I stuck to the back. Like I just joined in for the participation aspect of it, or a line on the resume. I didn't really plan to do student leadership. I kind of just wanted to get through grade 12. But being in DE and now having that extra added stuff, added accountability, it's prepared me to take bigger risks. I was able to do more with my leadership. I was able to take that risk. I started up the writing club myself.
Yeah.
I've been academic leader for 2 years, and now I can take those skills I've learned from DE, time management, accountability, stepping out of your comfort zone, which are essential life skills, I think, especially in our day and age, and being able to take them from a DE context into uni next year or into the workplace in the future are skills that have really prepared me for life. And I'm very grateful for that opportunity.
That's so cool. And I think when I talk about online learning with other people around, they get worried that, they're just students are just consolidated to their screen or whatever, or they're not getting the same quality education or even the community. Can you talk about those and how does DE help you with your learning? Actually, you just mentioned it, but I think more importantly, how do you have that community that you don't have the people in front of you like you would in an on-campus school?
Yeah, it's a big difference. I'll say that much because usually with on campus, you're thrown into a community, like you're forced to be in a community because you have to sit in a class, you have to do group activities, kind of thing. But ACC and DE, it's giving the skills to go out and create a community, which I think is really
Yeah.
important. It gives you the skills to be able to connect with people. There is so I think as you said, there people get scared, especially with the isolation behind a screen, that there won't be an opportunity to connect with other students. But we have the ability to attend live webinars where you connect with your classmates. You can discuss topics, discuss questions. You can join Class Connects every Tuesday and Thursday morning in the Senior Hub and speak to people from grade 10 to grade 12 all over the spectrum in different grades studying different subjects. And there's a multitude of clubs which are sometimes student run, which is really important. And you build those connections. I know, especially for the grade 10s, get to connect with the grade 12 student leaders running them, and then they have an older mentor, and that community forms from there, which is really important. So definitely DE fosters a community, but it's just taking that step to really throw yourself into the community too, and gaining the skills to be able to create a community in your own online learning too. Um, Learning wise, and well, the educational aspect, I think DE and ACC, they have an advantage. Personally, I think that the learning with ACC is like, personally, just as a person who's been independent and really appreciates one-on-one connection with my teachers,
Mm.
it's been incredible. You wouldn't think so behind a Zoom screen or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I can go, and I know I've received about 4 emails this week from teachers saying, here's a meeting schedule. If you need one-on-one support, just put your name in this spreadsheet and we'll have a one-on-one Zoom. You don't have to go through the process like on campus of finding your teacher at a lunch break, asking them for help. They say, no, we need to book a room. So then you wait 3 days for them to
Yeah.
book a room. There's no rooms available and it doesn't happen. Now I can have my teacher's phone number where the phone sits right next to them and it rings for 1 second. And
Yeah.
my history teacher is picking up, ready to help me on whatever,
Yeah.
which is just incredible. If I need a question answered, I don't have to awkwardly raise my hand, which is something personally I was very afraid to do. I used
Mm.
to be terrible at asking questions because I like to be the smart kid and not ask questions. Don't do that. Um, but now, if I need to ask a personal question, I can pick up a phone and call my teacher, or I can ask for a one on one Zoom, which is just incredible for my learning experience. And the really good thing is, for those people who commit to attending webinars or really putting their foot forward in discussion spaces within modules or within classes, you really are getting the best of the bunch, the people who really want to succeed. So you're in a group every live webinar with people who want to succeed and really want to get the best out of DE, compared to a classroom full of kids who may feel like they don't want to be there or are forced to be there by the system. You might only have a very small class, but I can assure you those kids who take the time to sit through a 1 hour webinar on whatever subject are the kids who really want to see the best out of their schooling and really want to succeed. And I think that's the most wonderful thing about DE.
That's awesome. What have been your personal highlights over the past few years being part of DE?
So many, there's so many. Definitely. So I started up as a student leader, the ACC Writing Club, which I ran every week on a Tuesday afternoon from everyone in grade 7 up to grade 12. So I got a complete mixed bag of students. I got kids in grade 7 who started out like last week to grade 10s who have been in there since day one last year when it started, and being able to foster those connections and have people, when I go to a connection day in person, and have kids from the writing club coming up and saying, I really enjoy writing club. What am I going to do
cool.
when I can't, when you're there not next year and writing club isn't happening? What will I do with my Tuesday afternoon? And having that connection with so many people across different year levels has just been incredible. And being able to form lifelong friendships and being invited back by teachers saying, if you want to come back next year once you've graduated and come and talk to the students, or if you want to start a YouTube channel and give writing tips, and we'll present it in my class and we can talk about that. That's been incredible. It's definitely pushed me as a person, built me and my leadership skills, but also my ability to connect with other people. And other highlights has just been that community in webinars is something I really value and something that has just been a highlight for me. Even though I've had very small classes of about 3 people showing up, those 3 people are now my best friends for life, and we're going to keep in contact at uni, and we'll go and sit on Zoom for 3 hours every week and just study together, or we will talk outside of school hours on social media or anything. And it all fostered just from a webinar, where we all just sat around, and it was really an open forum. So mics were off, cameras, or mics were on, cameras were on. We were just spewing out into a forum, and they were just the best discussions because everyone just learnt to be comfortable with each other. And now I've got these lifelong friendships that have formed over Zoom, which is crazy to think about. But now my best friends are on the other side of the state, but I love them to death, and I'll see them next year when I go to uni. So definitely that's another highlight. It's been amazing.
Yeah, no way. That's brilliant. Yeah, I can't even imagine what that's like. Just building those friendships, just literally from thousands, hundreds of kilometers away. Well, yeah. What have you been your favorite subjects? Who are your teachers? You can shout them out now.
Oh gosh, oh gosh. I'm about to get some hate from some teachers now. I've got my favorite teachers. Oh gosh, I've got Mrs. Gaffney for literature and English. She's been there for the past 2 years. She's incredible. I am English and literature is my favorite subject. So, Mrs. Gaffney and we've got a close knit connection. I'm actually going to go for a Zoom with her in half an hour. So there you go.
I'm gonna see if I can drag her. She might be having lunch. I might drag her
no,
in.
Drag her in here. Who else? Dr. Barry, who's very new to the school. He only started this year, but he's been incredible. He's been teaching me because I'm taking another thing DA's offered me is to take another senior external exam that is taught by or tutored to me by another teacher. So Dr. Barry teaches me modern history, but he's also tutoring me in ancient history, which isn't provided by ACC yet. That's set to change next year, though, unsettlingly. But he takes that time outside of hours to send me past resources and just picks up the phone and has a chat. But also people like Mrs. Toll and Mr. Taylor, who have taught me legal studies over the past 2 years. They're always sending me opportunities or nominating me for the most random awards and saying, come down to Brisbane to get the certificate at Parliament House. And I said, okie dokie then. But then Mrs. Toll will be like, I'm coming to Cairns. Do you want to come to the connection day and we can have a coffee and a chat and just talk over everything? It's just like the connection to my teachers. They are incredible. They are like my mentors, my idols, and I don't know where I'd be without any of them. They're all incredible people.
That's brilliant. I love to hear that. And is that something you will try to maintain? Or at least just kind of, an email every couple months when you get out of school, you reckon?
Oh, yeah, definitely. ACC hasn't seen the last of me once I graduate. I'll be back. That's what I say. But definitely, I'll be keeping all those contacts with my teachers. I think that's really important.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so then what would you, what would be, doesn't have to be one piece of advice. What's a piece of advice or lots of advice that you would give to anyone entering DE for the first time? What would you say?
There's so many. But I think the best one is just give it a shot. It's such a broad thing, but just give everything a shot. Show up to a webinar, even though you might not want to. Maybe it's at a random time during your day, and you just say, "Oh, I can't be bothered." Give it a shot. Show up once. Give your teacher the time and day just to have a chat. Give it a shot jumping into a discussion in the senior hub or the middle hub that you wouldn't usually go into. That's just full of kids chatting, and you say, "Oh, I don't want to talk to them." Just give it a shot. Throw something out. Someone will reply to you. Give all your schoolwork a shot. Have a go. I think that's really important. Join a club, or at least show up to one session to a club just to see a community. Try different things within each club. Some people, I've seen kids show up for one session at writing club, and then I've never seen them again. But they gave it a shot. They put a few messages in the chat. They spoke up one or two times. That's really important, and that shows me that they're willing to give everything a shot. And I think once you start putting in a bit of effort, or at least taking the time to just have a go at things, your teachers will appreciate it. It's definitely really encouraging to have a conversation, to be able to work with people in classes instead of someone who doesn't want anything to do with the community, just wants to submit their assignments and go on. But it's really good if I can just, and your peers and your teachers will appreciate you if you just give everything a go. Just take a shot. Respond to someone's question in a class discussion. They may appreciate it. They'll remember your name. If you go to graduation, they'll say, "Thanks for helping me that one time," because people remember small things. But yeah, that's definitely my advice. Just give everything a go. Give it a shot.
Yeah, oh, love that. Ran out of questions a while ago. Is there anything? Is there anything else you want to add about Playwright? Yeah, what do you got?
Oh, let me think. Should have written something down. Trying to think. Yeah, I already mentioned it generally, but people, like, I think your classmates and your peers and your teachers will really appreciate, because I know there's people in my class. I've met multiple people in my class, but there's also groups of people that I've never met because they don't show up to webinars, or they don't go on the discussions or reply or do peer reviews or anything. And that's fair enough. DU is flexible, which is the wonderful thing. There's in grade 12, there's athletes who are going to go and perform in the 2032 Brisbane Olympics, probably. There's dancers, there's actors, there's musicians. That's the wonderful thing about DE. But having that ability to foster connections, I know some people are just trying to survive, just trying to get to the end so they can pursue their passions. But if you take that time of day just to show a bit of connection with your peers, being able to respond to a peer review, just give somebody some feedback so they can improve. If you show up to a webinar once, share your ideas, encourage people to share their ideas, then it'll be much easier when you show up to graduation or formal and being able to connect with multiple people that you've spoken to one or two times instead of coming into it and not knowing anyone. So that's definitely just trying to foster connections is really important, I think, with DE.
Yeah, beautiful, wonderful. Yeah, hey, look at that.
Perfect. We did it.
All right, thank you so much for your time today, Grace. I appreciate that. That's really cool.
All right, I enjoyed it.